This is the Evolution 1079 Podcast Network. I am Jamie, and welcome back to this, the latest edition of your hit favorite TV show called Ranked, where I take a look at content from anything and everything and put it into a ranking of my very own choosing because, as you all know, this is my show, and I want to. With new variants of the COVID virus spreading so vastly and so widely across our country, most of us are looking to be heading back into quarantine. And on today's edition of Ranked, I'm going to be giving you 10 movies or TV shows to binge watch if that should be the case. More and more people are testing positive here by the second, so let's not waste any more time and get on with the list. Coming in at number 10 is Friends, and we're just going to get this one out of the way now because, like many of us, most of you have probably already watched it. But if you haven't, and you do need to head back into quarantine, just go give Friends a watch. It's a real quick binge. It's stupid, fun comedy that virtually everyone can enjoy. The entire cast is super close in real life, and you can tell on the screen it makes them seem less like scripted characters and more like their actual selves, just being themselves on screen. The group themselves actually has a pact in real life where they're not allowed to be romantically involved with anyone else on the show, just to maintain the integrity of the show, and it's real cool to see. The obvious plotline of Friends is Ross and Rachel, so keep your eye on that, but don't let other characters like Chandler slide under the radar. His character development was honestly my personal favorite on the show. Watching him become the comedic relief turned into an emotional core of the group was really, really cool. Don't let other plot lines like that sneak up on you. There's a lot going on in Friends. It's more than just stupid fun comedy. Friends has officially moved from Netflix to Crave, and you can catch every single episode from every single season there, so head on over if you gotta head into quarantine. Coming in at number 9 is the Harry Potter Saga, and this entry is nowhere near as casual viewing as Friends is, but that doesn't make it any less binge-worthy. It's based on the top-selling novel series, which are also a great read. If you have time, go give those a read. But the Harry Potter movies display some of the most complex storytelling that I've ever seen on the big screen, and at times, they do it in the best way possible as well. Harry Potter also displays some of the better casting that I've ever seen. Obviously, Daniel Radcliffe nails the role of Harry Potter, but there's also Emma Watson as Hermione. Alan Rickman as Snape is fantastic. Gary Oldman as Sirius Black is incredible, and of course, Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort. All were perfect casting choices. Even Rupert Grint was alright, let's be honest. He wasn't that bad. Unfortunately, the Harry Potter Saga is not available for free on any streaming platform that I'm aware of, but you can rent each movie individually for cheap on Amazon Prime. And I'm sure, if not, your local Walmart has a nice box set available for you as well. Coming in at number 8 on the list, and the most recent entry as well, is the Netflix series Snowpiercer. It's based off a previously released movie, which was based off a comic book itself, and as young as this show is, there is no lack of action or excitement in any episode. Set in the post-apocalyptic world where the entire world has frozen over with no civilization other than a 1,000 car long train moving at top speed, the entire surviving human race has to find some way to coexist, which may seem easy when survival is the top priority, but there's one glaring issue, that issue being the train and all 1,000 cars of it has a very strict class system. Jennifer Connelly and Sean Bean lead the cast, which features a lot of young new faces to the TV screen, but that doesn't take away from how compelling this show really is. At only 3 seasons long, Snowpiercer is a quick binge, but you'll be on the edge of your seats for every single episode, and they're all available right now on Netflix. Coming in at my number 7 entry is the Dark Side of the Ring documentary, and number 7 on this list will probably be the least popular genre, but if you are a fan of professional wrestling, this documentary will blow you away in every possible way. Dark Side of the Ring is a docu-series that dives into the behind-the-scenes world and backstage controversies of the world of professional wrestling. At 3 seasons long now, some of my favorite episodes include The Plane Ride from Hell, The Montreal Screwjob, and even 2-part episodes on the lives of Brian Pillman and Chris Benoit respectively. It's fantastic watch, it's super compelling, and it sheds new light on a lot of these scenarios that not a lot of people have been able to speak on before. The series features interviews with backstage talent like Chris Jericho, Chavo Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and other producers like Bruce Pritchard and Jim Cornette. Other guests include the flight attendant from The Plane Ride from Hell, Earl Hebner, the referee from the Montreal Screwjob, and even the families of Brian Pillman and Chris Benoit respectively. It's incredible. All episodes are currently available on Vice TV and HBO Max, and if you are a fan of professional wrestling, this docuseries is a must-watch. At number 6 on my list is the Star Wars saga. And alright, let me preface this entry, and anyone who has seen some of my previous content on Evolution knows this, but I do not count the Disney sequels when I talk about Star Wars. They do not exist. I will not rank them, because in my mind, they aren't real. You can watch them if you want, but don't. You'll waste your time. With that being said, the original 6 saga of Star Wars is a must-watch. This is a saga portraying the classic storyline of good versus evil at its best. The casting, especially in the prequels, can be a little hit and miss sometimes, which is why Star Wars ranks a little lower on my list. We're looking at you, Hayden Christensen. But there are still some great characters. Mainly Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, but Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine is absolutely fantastic as well. When the storyline of Star Wars hits, it hits hard. Star Wars holds the original cinema plot twist for a reason, and if you haven't seen it yet, that plot twist hits just as hard to this day. You can watch them in order of real-life release, or in chronological order of Star Wars canon as well. Either way, you won't be disappointed, and you will enjoy yourself, I promise. Star Wars is available exclusively on Disney+, and there's so much other content from the Star Wars universe on there as well. I wouldn't waste any time. I would head over now and check it out. Speaking of other Star Wars content, once you have watched the original 6 movies, go back onto Disney Plus and watch the animated series set between episodes 1 and 2. The number 5 entry on this list was originally deemed to be a kids' animated show, but the Star Wars faithful just simply did not allow that to happen. This series takes you deep inside the lives of a clone trooper, giving you a real-life view of what it was like to fight in the Clone Wars. You follow Anakin, Obi-Wan, and other Jedi with their platoons of troopers as they travel the galaxy fighting in different battles of the Clone Wars. It's immersive, it's captivating, and you genuinely feel an attachment to the characters. The series really kicks off for the final season when Disney gets a hold of the funding for the show, one of the only good things Disney actually did for the Star Wars universe, literally ever. But honestly, once Disney put money into this show, the animation and the storytelling kicks up a notch from what was already an incredible display of action and adventure. And like all other Star Wars content, it's available on Disney Plus right now for you to head over and watch. Coming in at the number 4 entry is The Walking Dead. And okay, I have released some content on Evolution before that absolutely rips this show apart. But that was coming from a hardcore fan of the show that has read the comics through multiple times and seen the show more times than he would like to admit. The Walking Dead in its early years was some of the most captivating TV out there, and in a lot of ways, it was the first of its kind. Yes, it does go off the rails more than once, but it still instills that need-to-know feeling at the end of every single episode, and you develop a genuine attachment to each character. The Walking Dead's best seasons are easily 3 and 4 in my opinion, with 7 and 8 close behind. And season 11 so far, the show's final season, is really reeling me back in, and I genuinely cannot wait to see how they wrap things up and end the show. It's fully available on Netflix right now, and season 11 resumes in February, and the show's going to come to an end. I can't wait to see how they do it. Coming in at number 3 is Jim Can't Swim: Criminal Psychology. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit with my number 3 entry because it isn't a show or a movie series, but it's a YouTube channel. And unfortunately, they have recently been demonetized and shut down, but all of Jim Can't Swim's content is still available on YouTube, and they're fighting the demonetization as well now. Jim Can't Swim: Criminal Psychology dives deep into real-life crimes and interrogation footage and breaks down the psychological tactics used by North America's best interrogators and explains it in some of the most profound ways that I've ever heard. This channel is uncensored, it's unfiltered, and it is as real as it gets, so I will issue a content warning for some of our parents and younger viewers out there, but nonetheless, if you enjoy criminal psychology, if you enjoy interrogations and real crime, this is a channel that you have to watch whether you quarantine or not. At number 2 on my list is the Dark Knight Trilogy, and I'm just going to come out and say this point blank. There is no better movie trilogy than Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Trilogy. The first movie, Batman Begins, is the weakest one of the 3, but only because the latter 2 are that good, especially The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger being cast as the Joker is easily my favorite casting decision of all time, and the best role portrayal in the history of cinema, in my opinion, of course. And I know I'm not alone in thinking so, but the fact that he passed away and wasn't able to be included in The Dark Knight Rises physically makes me sad. Could you imagine Heath Ledger's Joker and Tom Hardy's Bane sharing the screen against Christian Bale's Batman. Like, it gives me goosebumps to think about. With Christopher Nolan at the helm, nonetheless, it would have been immaculate. Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon is also a role that should not be slept on. Unfortunately, all the Dark Knight movies have been taken off Netflix and moved over to HBO Max, but they are worth the transition over to HBO Max, even if you have to use up a free trial. Taking the top spot on my list is, of course, Breaking Bad. If you ignore every other entry on my list, well, first of all, that's quite rude of you, but I'll forgive you as long as you go and sit down and watch Breaking Bad. It is by far the best TV show that I have ever seen, and every single plotline and story arc in the show is tied up by the show's end. The character development of each member of the main cast is unmatched. The casting of the show itself is perfect. Even Anna Gunn as Skylar White, can't really complain too much there. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, go now and watch it because I'm judging you. And if you have seen it already and you have to quarantine again, go watch it again, because I promise you, you missed something the first time. I have seen this show through at least 4 times now, and something new in the story has presented itself each time through. Do yourself a favor, go onto Netflix and start watching Breaking Bad right now, regardless of a quarantine or not, and then go leave a note in the comments down below and tell me how right I was, because I am. And that is my list for the top 10 shows and movies to watch if you need to head back into quarantine, which unfortunately seems to be becoming more and more inevitable by the day now. But that's what I'm here for. As always, I have been your host, Jamie Shiho. This has been the latest edition of Ranked on the Evolution 1079 Podcast Network, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next time. Stay safe.